Aloha mai kako, and welcome to Hālau Kūkalaulama's online ohana workshop. Today, we are lucky to have with us a man that many of our kids know and love, as well as our parents. We just got off Ho'olalea, where I think he's so happy that it's over with because that man works so hard, and we really appreciate him. Chef Dean Matsushita. All right, Chef, take it away.
Aloha, welcome. It's nice to see you guys. Thank you guys very much for joining us on this beautiful rainy day. But that's a good thing because we're gonna make some watercress stew and it's gonna be ono. Aloha, everybody. Hopefully you guys got your guys' shopping list together. Is there anybody that doesn't have their shopping list together? Raise your hand, let us know. Oh, everybody's ready to rock and roll. That is awesome. That's what I like to hear. There's a French term called mise en place, right? Mise en place means everything in its place, everything ready to go. And that's where I hope that you are or you can get to shortly. So you're gonna need some kind of beef for today. We have the Kamehameha brisket. This is from Hawaii Island. It's a grass-fed beef. And how many of you out there know that the Big Island grass-fed beef from Kamehameha is the only beef that we serve on this campus? And it's the only beef that we've served on this campus for about 1.5 years now. So one thing you'll notice with this beef is the flavor profile is way better. So definitely mahalo to Kamehameha beef for providing this beautiful brisket that we're going to use today. And then next up, of course, we have the famous Sumita watercress. This is the good stuff, man. You know, Sumita has been around for many generations. And gosh, their product is just super amazing. And then of course, you're gonna have to have some onions. These onions came from Akahi Kitchen, all the way from that farm over there. Some of you might know Akahi Kitchen, some may not. And we're gonna have some chicken base. Because we want to add a lot of flavor, yeah? You're gonna need a little bit of oil. I suggest using like a salad oil or a canola oil or something like that, something not an olive oil. For this particular dish, olive oil tends to be too strong. So if you have some kind of other oil, that'd be good. Coconut oil is fine. There's so many different oils nowadays. You need pa'akai, right? Hawaiian salt. So you need some of that. If you have alai or whatever it is that you have, it's totally fine. Other than that, you're gonna need a spoon to mix. You're gonna need a ladle for serve later because you gotta eat them. And one pot. And other than that, I think that should be everything you guys need that I can think of off the top of my head. And if at any time you have any questions, put them in the chat. We'll get back to those questions tomorrow. Maybe. Just kidding. Put them in the chat and we'll try to address those questions. So I'm going to give you a second to make sure you got all your stuff together and everything's ready before we get started. So ready, go. And as you guys are getting ready, one of the other things that we have to do to get ready is we need to wash our hands. Because I don't know where you guys been. So go wash your hands with soap, 20 seconds at least. The hottest water you can take, and we'll be back shortly. Okay, so how many of you guys have had this watercress stew when you guys were going to school here? Okay, so some of you may remember it and some of you may not, but that's okay because we're gonna create new memories today. If you guys don't have beef brisket, you guys can use any kind of beef. If you don't have beef, you can use pork. You can use chicken. You can use pretty much anything. Beef brisket, the reason I like to use it is one, it's in the original KS recipe, and two, it holds up well. Yeah, it doesn't fall apart when you're simmering it. So it holds up very well, and it has a little texture, a little chewier texture So when you're eating it, even though it's soft, it's still a little bit chewy. So it's not like mush. And I really like that. But use what get, right? I think many of us growing up, that's kind of how we cooked our dinners, our meals, was use what get. If you have this, use it. If you don't have this, that's okay. You'll find something else. So whatever it is you guys have at your house, use what get. So with things like beef brisket or other kinds of beef, like a top round or bottom round, or really pretty much any beef, it's gonna come with a fat cap. And as you can see, some of it just kind of peels off like this, right? And what you don't want is, what you do want is you want to leave some of the fat on, but not too much, because my doctor will get upset with me if I leave too much, right? So those of you who are like me and you need to watch what you're eating and things like that as we get older, we're gonna go ahead and trim off some of that fat, but we want to leave some, because if we don't leave some, well, not gonna be on, right? So I'm gonna grab my pot and I'm gonna bring it over here. So I got a place to put it. And what we're gonna do is we're just gonna trim all this out. You see all this? Can you guys see this? All this like skin and sinew and stuff? We don't want to eat that. So just using a knife, you're just gonna trim it out. Try not to cut away too much meat, because that's the part you want to eat.
So Chef Dean, we have a comment from Lemomi.
Yes, aloha Lemomi.
Says, hey Chef Dean, look how you get plenty meat on that fat. We need our parents come trim for you.
Hey, come. We take everybody. We like all the help we can get. Okay, so basically when you get your meat kind of trimmed out, you're just gonna cut it into like stew meat size. And now here's one thing that I find, yeah. A lot of times, like it's 5 o'clock right now or 5:20, and you gotta get dinner ready, so you gotta try hurry up. So couple options, right? Cut your meat a little bit smaller, right? That's a good one, right? Cut a little bit smaller. So for this, we're gonna cut maybe like 1-inch cubes, kind of cut them like stew meat. Or the other option is use one Instant Pot, because that's one fast way to do it too. Especially for working parents and things like that, that you gotta run around and things like that. Doing an Instant Pot is definitely an easy thing to do. But so we're gonna go ahead and cut our meat. Everybody get good sharp knife. And as you can see, we cut the meat and we just cut little cubes. About like that. You guys can see that. There's my hand. Hey. Almost look like poke, but not quite. Okay? And we just control that in the pot for now. We get them out of the way.
When's the first time you ever ate this recipe? Was it when you were here?
Well, this particular recipe, yes. There was a cook that was here. I think she's a class of '86 alum. Her name is Darlinda Kim.
Yes.
Some of you may know her, some of you may not. But that lady could cook anything and everything. And I remember the first time I had this here, she said, "This is the recipe and this is how you make it and don't change it." And I said, "Okay, I got you, girl." And since I've been here, this thing has always been served the same way, as how she taught me. And yeah, it's a super ono dish. It's super good, especially on the cold nights we've been having recently. Especially those of you who live in colder areas, like Kapālama, Waianae, Eva, a little bit colder over there, yeah. And as that's getting hot, you can go ahead and wash your cutting board and your knife and stuff. And don't forget, wash your hands again too.
Have you made this dish for your family?
Yes, I have actually. And it seems like a dish that a lot of people like. And it's very simple.
Yeah.
Very, very simple. And what I learned about this dish is there's so many variations. Everybody does it a different way. Everybody's auntie, everybody's tutu, everybody's everything did it a different way, right? So there's no right way or wrong way. The only way is the way you like eat them, right? That's the best way. So variations, some people will salt the meat before, a couple of days before. Some people will add ginger, garlic, sesame oil. There's so many variations, but it's okay. Like, you can make them any way you want, right? Again, like I said in the beginning, use what get. And that's kind of what we're gonna do at home if you guys are at home. So once your pot is kind of hot, you're gonna put a little bit oil inside, probably about a tablespoon. Are you guys following with me? You guys at that step yet? Can you guys hear that? You hear the sizzle? That means the meat hot. And so the only thing we're gonna do now is we're gonna brown the meat. In that process, one of the things you wanna do is you wanna season along the way a little bit. So you're gonna grab your pakai straight from the bag, and you're just gonna sprinkle some on your meat. And as you're cooking, pretty much anything, you wanna season from beginning to end. You wanna make sure everything is seasoned well, so that your end product tastes good. Yeah, so go ahead and brown your meat. Everybody's meat getting brown? Can you smell this? Can you guys smell this? Kamehameha beef from Hawaii Island. Did you know that 10 of their farms, 10 of their ranches are on Pauahi land? Now that's maikai, right? So they process everything in Pauilo town, and we serve it on this campus. So if you guys can smell this, oh man, this burger smell, oh no. So far so good. Okay, now one of the things you can do is, as your beef is browning over there, now you might want to turn your fire down from high to maybe like medium high, because you don't like burn them. And one thing we're gonna do now is, as that's browning, we're gonna multitask. I see some kumu on there. I know you guys are used to multitasking, or some of you parents that get 2 kids, 3 kids, 10 kids, you guys are good at multitasking. So what we're gonna do is we'll cut the onions. At the same time we're cutting the onions, we gotta go over here and we gotta mix a little bit. Okay, we gotta mix a little bit, because we don't like your stuff burned. Okay, so you get your onion. And fortunately, my onion was magically peeled. So for those of you who need to peel your onion, get 2 sides, the top and the bottom. You guys are gonna cut that off, like that. And then you cut the other side, okay? And then you're gonna peel the skin off, because we don't like eat that, okay? So go ahead and peel your onion. And don't forget, mix your beef. It's smelling very meaty, and I like that. Okay, so there's many ways to cut an onion. Everybody does it different, but this is how I do it. You can take the onion, you can cut the onion in half. Okay, now with an onion, you see how there's like these lines and these lines? The way you cut an onion, or the way I cut an onion, is pretty much to follow the line, right? So take the knife, and when you get about halfway, turn the onion on its side, and then we cut the other side. Okay, you guys got that? Everybody cut onion already? Oh, you guys jamming, huh?
Any tips for stopping yourself from crying or eyes burning?
Close your eyes. Just kidding, don't do that. Oh my, you cut off your finger. Some of it, some people say that you can actually rinse the onion in water a little bit. But usually what I notice is when your eyes start watering up when you cutting onions, the onions are a little bit older. So they're kupuna onions. For some reason, I don't know why that is, but the older ones tend to like hurt your eyes more. I don't know. For me, I think I'm just used to it. It doesn't really bother me too much anymore. When I was younger, it did, but maybe through time, it just kind of doesn't bother me too much. Okay, everybody's onion cut? Look like, oh man, you guys fast. I going too slow, I think. So what you're gonna do is some of your beef, you're gonna notice that there's some liquid that's coming out, right? And so it's okay. It's all good. So, and that's okay, right? That's gonna be part of the flavor. It's the fat rendering and things like that. And what you're gonna do is just gonna let that cook out a little bit, and we're gonna let some of that moisture evaporate, right? And then what that does is it intensifies the flavor a little bit of the beef. And again, Kamehameha beef, smelling ono. Okay, so everybody got their onions cut. So one thing that we can do is everybody has fresh Sumita Farms watercress. Look at that, look at that. Woo, pretty, huh? Look at that, man. So one other thing with all your vegetables, you want to make sure is to wash them. But no matter what kind of vegetables it is or where it came from, even if it's from your own garden, you want to make sure you wash them well. You don't need to put dish soap or anything when you're washing your vegetables, just some fresh water. If you have, like a bunch of watercress, they all come stuck together, right? So when you're washing it, you want to pull it apart and you want to let the water run in between all of the stems and all of the leaves so you can wash out any bugs or anything. So take a second, go wash your watercress and we'll get that ready. Don't forget, mix your meat now. So now, what I didn't tell you is, this dish actually is gonna take about 3 hours to make. Everybody's bummed now, right? Because you're like, oh, I was gonna eat that for dinner. But just kidding. So like I said earlier, options, you can use an instant pot or a slow cooker, and you can do this ahead of time and you can have it ready when you come home from work. Or if you have a pressure cooker, you probably can get that meat soft in about 10 minutes. But for us, we don't have one of those, but that's okay, because we're just gonna do it in a pot. And really what you wanna do is you just wanna let it simmer and you wanna let all the flavors meld together and the meat to get soft. That's the ultimate goal. Other than that, so you can take your onions, right? And you can put your onions in the pot. And what you want to do is just kind of break them up a little bit. Kind of something like that.
We have a few comments. Felicia says it's not cooking yet, we're gonna make it later.
Perfect.
Rochelle says, I'm watching and wishing I bought ingredients. It's cool and rainy in Kamehameha. I need to eat beef watercress tonight. Oh, and Andrew Lie's here. I'm just getting home. Gonna make it during spring break. Gotta let my onions become puna.
Awesome, awesome. Well, thank you guys for joining. It's super awesome too that you guys had the opportunity to come on. If you guys know where we're hiding, but we're not gonna tell you that, maybe you guys can swing by. But if you're already in Kaneohe, I wouldn't recommend it because traffic is a little bit crazy right now. Okay, so you're gonna kind of cook your onions for about 7 minutes or so. And you just want them to become a little bit translucent. Okay, so right about now, hopefully you guys started your rice. Everybody cook on pot rice already? Raise your hand, cook pot rice. Rice is ready to go, or the kids would cook the rice when they got home from school. Something like that, right? How's everybody's onions looking? Everybody's onions looking good? Smelling even better now with the onions and the beef, and I know you guys are getting hungry. And your onions start to soften and become kind of translucent. Then we're gonna go ahead and add our chicken stock. So now, if you're using canned chicken stock, you can just open up the cans and dump it inside. If you're using base, like this, Miner's chicken base. Another thing that if you shop at Safeway or Times, you can find this thing called Better Than Bouillon. You can find chicken, beef, roasted garlic, all different kinds of bases. I like the base better than a can of chicken broth or beef broth because the flavor profile is better. And also, you can adjust it. So if you want it to be a little stronger, you can add a little more base. If you want it to be a little weaker, you can add a little more water, and it kind of balances out. If you're using base, you can just put water in your pot. Or if you use chicken stock, you can just open up the cans and put those into the pot. So I'm gonna get my water from my base. And for this, you're gonna use about 4 cans of chicken stock. And really all you wanna do is you wanna just cover the meat and the onions so that it can stew up. But if you're like me, I like more soup because I like to eat it with rice, right? Nothing like watercress stew over hot rice. Woo, winner. So I usually add a little bit more water because I like it a little soupy. Okay? And you have to lift this up. Okay. And then as you can see, you got the water that's kind of covering everything. So you're gonna let that simmer or come to a boil. In the meantime, so like this Miner's brand chicken stock or like the Better Than chicken base or Better Than bouillon base, it's about a tablespoon per cup of water is the average. So I got about 6 cups in there. So I'm gonna give you about 6 tablespoons, and we're just gonna mix it in.
Smells good.
And now anybody that's using an Instant Pot, now's the time that you can put the cover on. You can set it and forget it. Pressure cook probably about maybe 7 to 10 minutes. And then it'll be done. And that's pretty much it. So bring this to a boil. Once it starts boiling, you're gonna reduce it down to a simmer and just let it simmer until the beef gets soft. And you can take a piece out and put it in your mouth, try it. You're gonna see what it tastes like, how it tastes, if the texture is good. And other than that, we're gonna let this boil, reduce it to a simmer. In the meantime, we're gonna switch to a commercial break, but don't run away. Don't run away, because there's gonna be a video for you guys to watch about this beautiful, beautiful, beautiful Sumita Farms watercress. So we'll watch that video. We'll get to you guys shortly.
So our farm has survived 94 years, and that included a depression, recessions, wars, hurricanes. I mean, all kinds of elements that could have put us under. But the one steady part about the farm is our workers. And many of them have been with us for decades. Some of them knew me even when I was a small child. My name is Emmy Suzuki. I represent the 4th generation of the Sumita family to manage Sumita Farm. I'm the great-granddaughter of Makio and Moriichi Sumita, who were our founders, and the granddaughter, one of 6 grandchildren of Masaru and Norma Sumita, who managed the farm for the 2nd generation. My great-grandparents started this farm when they obtained a lease with Kamehameha schools in 1928. And we, at that time, were surrounded by farms. This was all farmland. My father and his siblings, they still think of themselves as country kids. When my great-grandparents started the farm, they really felt that not only was this land ideal for growing watercress because it was fed by these freshwater springs, and they also believed that it was important to nourish local families. So I'm really proud of that history. I'm proud of that original generation that had the foresight to want to support local. There's so much that makes Sumita Farm special. For us, the Hālau springs are the lifeblood of this farm and make our watercress the best in the world. These springs that are a literal connection to the past and present, and they nourish the future generations through watercress. The workers, they've been with us through so many different crises and challenges, and they show up every day, and if they take one day off, the land changes, and it just shows me how much they're doing every day. While the farm has always been thought of as a family farm, we now think of the farm as a community farm, and we want to build up the community that has supported us. So our idea is that the farm represents so much more than just watercress. It represents this idea of nourishment that includes culture and education and history and music and art. And our opportunity is to invite the community in, whether it's through educational experiences or it's through social media or other platforms, so that people can come experience this place, form their own connections with it, and then share that with others.
Okay, well, welcome back. Did you guys enjoy that video? Right? Pretty cool, right? Whoever thought that little farm that some of you drive past every single day would grow this beautiful, beautiful vegetable, right? So some of the things that we wanted to share with you about watercress is it's a highly nutritious vegetable, right? Numerous health benefits, low in calories, high in vitamins and antioxidants, anti-inflammatory properties. So, really like include watercress in your ohana meals. Like you don't have to always use it in watercress stew. You can take the leaves and you can cut it up and you can add it to a salad or soups and things like that. But some people think that it has a little bitter flavor, which it does, but it's not really bitter. It's more peppery, but definitely not a lot of nutrients. But add it to your stuff. One thing is it's low in calories, right? So it makes my doctor happy. High in nutrients. A cup of watercress contains more than 100% of your daily recommended intake of vitamin C, right? What other vegetable does that? Not very many, right? What I found was a lot of kids, they're not sure about it, kind of like with cilantro. But when you cook it into stuff like watercress stew or other things, they don't really realize it's there. And when they don't realize it's there, they're more apt to eating it. So definitely a good thing, right? Okay, so hopefully your guys' pots are, is everybody's pots boiling, by the way? It's already, it's getting hot. It's starting to smoke, right? So what you can do is you can actually taste the flavor, and this is a good time to adjust your flavor, right? Right now, what you want is, you don't want it to be too salty. And the reason for that is as the water reduces, what's gonna happen is it'll become saltier, right? So you wanna go ahead and give it a quick taste, get some tasting spoons. No double dipping, okay? And then you're gonna taste it and you're gonna check. Oh no, all right. So I think we're on our way. Another thing you can do in this time too, is we're gonna cut our watercress, right? So with the watercress, there's so many different things, right? Some people, they like the stem, some people don't like the stem, but we don't waste, we use everything, right? So what you're gonna do with this watercress is you're gonna take it and you see how this part, the bottom part of the stem, it's so thick, yeah? So what we want to do with that is we actually want to cook that a little longer, right? So that one, it softens it up and it's not as stringy, and then two, it releases its flavor into the pot of the watercress too. So usually what I like to do with these, I like to cut them about 1 inch long. So go ahead and cut your watercress. And then when you get to the top, we're gonna save these for later. And I'm gonna show you why. Okay.
So
you can,
question, you
yes.
know how a lot of times where I taught that, you cut the bottom part and throw it away,
yes.
but you didn't do that.
So, you know, what happened is, yeah, sometimes you cut the first, you know, little section off. Sometimes it's really brown and beat up looking, but this one is actually really nice. It's not old, it's not dried out. So that's why I opted to just use it. Because again, we don't like waste. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna cut the remaining stems. And then you're gonna keep the leafy part and we're gonna put that on the side for now. Okay.
So they want me to ask me if we're going to be sending out a recording later on so they can make it, and yes, we will be.
Oh, okay. Are we charging like $19.95 for that video or something? Oh, just kidding.
3 payments of that.
Oh, hey, I like that. Okay, so what you're gonna do is in your pan, you see how I got the stems on one side? We're gonna put the leafy part on the other side, okay? And the reason for that is the stems are gonna go in first, and then the leaves. What I like to do is I like to add those just before we eat them, so you have that nice, fresh, fragrant watercress taste and smell. So I'm gonna cut those about the same, about 1 inch. Okay. And I'm gonna go ahead and put this on the opposite side. Everybody got their watercress cup? Everybody good over there? Okay, so we're gonna go back to this side and hopefully you guys pots are simmering and all that. Now, again, this process of simmering is probably gonna take you about an hour, I would say, unless you're using an instant pot or a pressure cooker. And the reason for that is we wanna get your meat soft. So check if your meat is soft. You can take a piece out, you can bite into it, and you'll know if it's too hard or not. But with the magic of TV, our meat is soft. Our meat is fall off the bone soft. So we're gonna go ahead and add the watercress, the stem part inside. You want to cook the meat and stuff first. And so then you can make sure the meat is soft. And then you can also make sure that your seasoning is good, right? Because you want to taste it throughout the process. So if you're using Instant Pot, go ahead and put it in there. Like I said, about 7 to 10 minutes. Medium pressure, you should be good. And then check the meat. Is it soft? Taste it. Double check the flavor profile. And as long as it's soft, then you can go ahead and add the stems. And really the stems, I would say, if you're using Instant Pot, just kind of put it on simmer for maybe about 5 minutes or so. If you're doing it on the stove, kind of the same thing. And yeah, so we're gonna leave this here for about 5 minutes and let that thing get going. One thing that actually helps too is if you cover your pot. So as you can tell in Akahi, we don't really have pot lids. Well, we don't normally use anything this cute, but so it doesn't have a lid, so we make makeshift lid over here. But that works too. Use what get, right? Use what get. So we're gonna start cleaning up a little bit over here and get these guys out of the way. Does anybody have any questions while we're waiting for this to simmer a little bit? No questions? Anyone? Oh, this is the kind I like. Super easy.
Eddie,
Yo,
Uncle Walter from
Hey.
Watercress.
aloha. Aloha, Uncle. How are you?
So we never have watercress. never come in.
That's okay. Come my house. Next time you're in town, come my house. You know where I live.
Yeah, yeah.
Awesome, awesome. Anybody else? Any questions?
I came in when you first put the meat on the stove, so I saw the process.
Oh, perfect. You right on time then.
Yeah, yeah.
Pretty soon you can come eat.
But tell Uncle Bill, go eat for me.
Oh, definitely, definitely. Okay, so as you got that going and your stems have kind of softened up, and you're gonna go ahead and get a spoon, and we're gonna taste this again to make sure that our seasoning is right. Yep, tastes like the stuff.
Okay, so now tell the truth. Do you double dip at home?
Nope.
Oh.
I do not double dip at home. I do not double dip here or at home or anywhere. It's a weird thing, I guess. But yeah, no double dipping. So again, right now is the time you want to check your taste, check your flavors. If you got to add a little bit more chicken base or a little bit more pakai, now's the time. And then one of the things you'll notice is sometimes when your pot is simmering, you can see like that foam start coming to the top. Well, you can do two things. One, you can leave it, or two, you can take it out. I like to take it out, right? So what you do is just grab a ladle and you're just gonna kind of scoop it out a little bit. And it just gives you a nice, clearer soup.
So, Dean, what is the temperature of the stove when it's simmering? Medium, high, or?
Well, if you have gas, probably like a medium high. Electric, well, depends on the electric. This one right now, I can show you just a second. You can kind of see it's just a little bit bubbling, yeah? And this one is on high. So depends on what kind of stove you got at home.
And you don't want it overboiling, just kind of.
Correct. Correct. Just kind of simmering. Okay? And then really once all that has cooked out and you kind of cleared up a little bit of your broth and it's looking good and smelling good, you can go ahead and turn off your pot and you can get your rice pot. Sounds good, yeah? I know you guys hungry. You guys hungry? Oh, yes. So, of course, you got to have a little bit rice with this, yeah? Or a lot of rice, up to you. Then,
Get the meat, yeah.
oh, yeah. Got to get a little bit of everything, right? You got to get a little bit meat. You got to get a little bit watercress stem. Got to get the broth. You guys can see me over here, okay? Or is this side better? And then you want to take the fresh watercress leaves, and you just want to put it right on top like that. Oh, okay.
That's good.
You let me know what you think.
I want to get a little bit of everything.
Oh, yes.
Okay. Hot.
Little bit hot.
Good.
It's okay. The real question, Lorelei, the real
Yes.
question that we have, that everybody at home or driving in their car, wherever they are, the real question that they have is, does it taste like you remember when you was going to school here?
Okay. Now, complete.
You're not going to hurt my feelings, I promise.
I actually don't remember ever having this when I was in school here. But during alumni week, we've always had it.
That's true. That's true.
And
And
it's very
alumni
good.
week is coming up. Okay, so how does it compare to alumni week?
It's good.
Okay,
It's a little soupier more, but I like the soupier.
right? So now all you guys that are freezing out west side, Kapālama, Eva, I know cold out that side. You guys can make this for dinner, right? Anybody questions anything?
And I have to say, In the past, I would say I don't like watercress, but this is really good. I'm giving it a chance. It's
Awesome.
actually really good.
Awesome.
Good
Awesome.
job. Good job, Chef.
So nobody has any questions. Thank you guys very much for joining in. Want to mahalo our sponsors. We got to mahalo our sponsors, right? So definitely Kamehameha Schools, Hālau Kūkalaulama, Manuhe Ali'i. Just kidding. I'm not sponsored by them, but right? If anybody from Manu like sponsor us, we accepting donations. We all good. Tell your friends. But really, thank you guys for joining in. Thank you guys for spending an hour with us. Enjoy your guys' dinner. And
I thank you to our producer, Holly Sevier.
oh, yes.
Behind the scenes. Thank you, Chef Dean.
Aloha.
Great job.
Aloha.